I picked this up. It's a used snowblower. It's been sitting out in the weather for quite some time. And I went through the whole snowblower and see what it needs. And it needs quite a bit of work. The engine does run. It needed a spark plug. I put the plug in, and Lord and behold, it started right up with the old gas that's in here. So I know the engine runs, and it runs good. Sounds strong. I don't really need to do much with the engine, but there's some work that needs to be done to this snowblower on the bottom half of this. This actually has tracks on it, so the tracks are frozen to the drive shaft, and a lot of stuff is just stuck because there's so much rust buildup. And it also needs the bearing for the impeller. So I went to my buddy's house because he's got a ton of these things sitting around his yard, because he works on lawnmowers and stuff, and every now and then he picks these up. And I got some replacement parts off of another snowblower that I believe will work. So now that I know the engine runs, we're going to stand this thing up on the front there and get to work on the bottom half of the snowblower. Now I know you probably can't see too well inside here, but I've taken out the drive shaft, taken out one side of the tracks. The other side is still there on the ground. It needs a new friction disc, and this is the one I picked up off another snowblower. We're taking this disc off, and we're going to put it on the shaft for this one. And then down there needs a new bearing, and I'm hoping this bearing will fit that bearing for the impeller. Basically, it's a lot of rust buildup, so a lot of it is just going to need some care. All right, cleaning up some of the shafts and getting everything moving smoothly like it should. All right, so first things first, I'm going to get this disc off of here. And now, moment of truth is to see if it fits on this side. Beautiful. It's a perfect fit. Sweet. All right, so now we got to tighten these up. The way this works is to get your different gears, it slides in different positions on that wheel. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the shaft and clean it up on the wire brush, grease it all back up. Like it's jamming up over here where all the rust buildup is. So let's go clean it up. Throw some grease on there. Now it moves nice. Let's get this back on. Alright. Put the bushing back. Screws. Now we check, see if she ships. It's gonna be good right there. That is riding right on there where it's supposed to. This back in. Let's see. Beautiful. Copper pin goes back in. put the bolt there. So the problem with the track is it's all rusted onto the shaft. Eesh, look at the rust on that. Sweet, got that out. Look at all that rust right there. That all has to be ground out of there. So this side is nice and free. It's actually moving like it should now. Everything's good. Friction disc is in, all greased up. I had to put a new bearing here on this side of the shaft. So I took another trip to my buddy's house and I grabbed a bearing. I was able to make work on this here. So far so good. Now I got to get this side of the track put together. Sprockets in. It's all been cleaned up. There we go. Okay. I'm missing an adjuster lobe on this side, so I am not spending the money to replace it. Beautiful. Okay. So now that the track system is working like it should, basically all I did on the track system is tear it apart, inspect it as I went, and I cleaned it up. The biggest problem with the track system was the rust buildup on the drive shaft and all the shafts for the sprockets and all that stuff. And the chains need to be lubricated. They weren't frozen up yet, but they were looking pretty bad. So I just put multi-purpose grease on everything after I cleaned it up. So the next project is it needs a new bearing right where the impeller is. That bearing is shot to hell. I'm hoping that this will work on that bearing there. If this piece doesn't work, the bearing does pop out, and I'm not sure, but I'm thinking they're all the same, or pretty much the same. We'll see. So far the parts that I got off that other blower have been a pretty good match, except for the brass bearing for the drive shaft. I had to grind that down a little bit to make it work. Next time, we'll go ahead and we'll separate the engine housing, and we'll try to get that bearing replaced. All right, you all. That's all I got for today. Thanks for being here with me. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.